Hey guys, this is Kirob speaking, and today we are in the new version of Pro Cycling Manager, the 2021 edition, and this is my first look into the game mechanics of that new edition. And there are not too many changes, as year over year we have become accustomed to, and I'm going to focus on those changes that are affecting all game modes, which means also mostly Pro Cyclist mode, which I'm playing on this channel. If you want to take a look at some of the changes that are affecting career mode with the UI and more statistics and so on, please have a look at the video that Benji made. I'm going to link it down below. So, what is new that is affecting Pro Cyclist mode? Well, there are 4 things that I'm going to check on in this video, and that is the new objective system. It is the wind-exposed sections in the stages. That's a completely new feature. And then we have a new time trial game mechanics that are much more in line with the normal gameplay. And of course also has a few issues at the moment, which we're going to dive into. And then lastly, but probably not leastly, we are going to take a look at the supposed fix to sprints being affected too much by corners close to the finish. Alright, let's get into it. So this is the new landing page for the Pro Cyclist mode, and I have simulated through a little while. We are at the end of April here, currently in a stage race, and then if you go over here, this by the way is fucking fucked, mate, when you are not using 1080p at the moment. Anyway, minor details, right? But here you see a big change, and this is the fitness planning and the objectives that go along with it. So let's have a quick look. What you're seeing here is the whole season that can be planned out, and you see all your objectives on the side here. You can manually add objectives. You're no longer limited to just having 3. Cool stuff. I really like that change. So you can also, you're no longer limited to having 1 objective per arbitrarily defined time frame of the year. So you can have objectives, like 2 objectives in the first time frame right next to each other, and then another one or none in the middle, and then 2 more towards the end of the season. No problem whatsoever. You can also have 10 if you like, and somehow can manage your fitness that way. But yes, what the game then proposes to you is it automatically highlights with the green the 100% target fitness, which is, if we only show the objectives, it is aligned with these. Here I have changed things around a little, and you can actually fitness plan like this. You can just click the... Well, this is in the past. I can't change my fitness training in the past, Kirob. That would be a little special. More special than PCM even. So let's not do that. Yeah, you can change them simply like this, where the green one means probably means medium intensity training. The bright green one means hard training, and the red one, awkwardly placed to the side in the legend down here, is meaning a rest week. And I think grey just means twiddling your thumbs while doing recovery rides or something. No, it's probably easy training or something like that. So what you're going to see is that you no longer really can set your starting fitness. At least I didn't see that. But then you are planning out your season by placing down these progressions, and that is all quite handy and quick to do. And I really like to have this complete overview of what is going on there, and you can fine adjust when you want to have your rest periods and so on. And for instance, you can place 2 of your major objectives right there with a rest week in between. Easy stuff, but now, hear me out, there is more to it. And probably something that you will want to do to some degree, and that is that you see here the next, how many days is this? like 14 or so. You cannot scroll this fucking table. That is a clear miss. You cannot advance this. But what you can do is for each day determine what you are going to train, like hard, medium, easy, and recovery. And one more important aspect is that each race you race, let's turn them off again here, or turn them on rather, all the other races. You see here that was a tour, 5 stages. Really nice that you can see the profile in here. Super handy. This is all really good. It just lacks a little bit of explanation, I would say. But what you need to consider is that each race has a taper day in front and a recovery day after it. So that needs to be considered when you're doing your fitness planning. And I will do a more in-depth video on how to do fitness planning exactly so that you are reaching some success with it. Because the default setup, let's not use that. That is very misleading and yields 85% fitness for important events. So don't do that. Now, next thing we're going to check out is the windy sections. So let me probably show you with just a single race, and let's go into the most extreme one there is. And right up front, I want to say that this is going to be very highly relying on modders, because this will, of course, only appear in stages that have been redone for this version. Which means the Grand Tours and some of the medium tours, like for instance Paris-Nice. Here there are 2 sectors, they are shown with this blue and just this texture on the map. Really nice looking, good illustration. Problem being, if you are in the Tour de France and you have some climbs going, where are those? Ah yeah, there we go. The UI is not really made for having 2 different sections. So yeah, this is on top of Mont Ventoux, the exposed part of the climb. Well, you have a windy section of 8 kilometers length, but also the climb, which really goes, of course, to the top as well. So it's a little awkward with the UI not being made for that new feature, and they probably didn't have time to adapt it. But regardless, let's go into the most extreme exposed stage there is in the bunch. Now let me find it. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yes. Holy shit. The entire damn stage is basically a wind zone, a wind tunnel. And we're going to try this out with Alpecin Phoenix and just pick a few of the good flat riders, I guess, or just go with the default set. Do we have some good flatties in there? Not really. Why are you not there? Why are you so shit in fitness? Alright, so what do we have today? Smashed riders. So what I'm going to do here is deliberately not doing something that is super smart, but I'm going to try and show you what is going to happen. Let's all put them at 85 hold position, and they are spread out throughout the peloton so that we can gauge what is happening while we are steering into these windy sections, which starts right behind this building over there and then goes on for another 96 kilometers. Of course, with the O key you can activate your little wind marker that is telling you where the wind is coming from. So currently we are in a little bit of a headwind, and there goes our attack, and we are out. Looking good so far, and so we are getting close to the section. We're right in front of it, and soon let's observe what happens there. It picks up. Okay, 37. That's a lot of wind. That is a lot of wind. Anyway, I've let the breakaway go now without my sprinter because they clearly didn't want him. And now let's see what happens over the course of this section. As you can see, that is a very long peloton. Where are my guys over there? Oh man! Oh, look at that! There you go. Now that that is a strung up peloton if I've ever seen one. Oof. Yeah. Now it's starting to rip a little back in the back here. Let's take a look back. Other direction maybe. Yeah, this is not looking all too healthy anymore for the heart rates, even though at the front we're not pulling hard. So one thing that is basically impossible in this wind is to grab water bottles. And without getting completely destroyed, because you can't get water bottles while inside the peloton. And if the peloton is... Okay, yeah, that is a problem. If the peloton is 10 kilometers long, then... And yes, that's the scale factor, right? That's the problem here. Or 6 kilometers long, then going back 6 kilometers and then getting to the front 6 kilometers, that takes basically an entire stage in harsh wind conditions and will definitely give you no water. And you can see them fight this wind. This is looking quite realistic, actually. I like the look of it, but wow. Okay, they've broken off already. So from a gameplay point of view, what does this do? Well, it basically tells the escapees that they have no disadvantage anymore, which is an interesting mechanic for sure. What I have a problem with, though, is that we are going to dehydrate. Let's see how water fetching works in these conditions. There we're at the back, and now he is no longer at the back. Yeah, he's gone. So one thing that is really worrying with this is that while this mechanic is implemented in an interesting way, and certainly working from a visual standpoint and also from a kind of tactics standpoint, you can destroy a peloton quite easily like this. What isn't working is the fact that wind has never worked in Pro Cycling Manager, not properly at least. While headwind does work, tailwind does not work, or is significantly weakened in its effect. Yes, tailwind in reality also is weaker, the effect, compared to a headwind, just because of the quadratic nature of air resistance. But in PCM, if you have 40 kilometers an hour in your tail, in your butt, pushing you along, then you still only ride like 60k? No, not even that. You don't even ride 60k, it's like 5 kilometers an hour faster. And that just doesn't really make any sense. While headwind does seem to be working more or less adequately. If not maybe even a little too... What are you doing? Are you giving up? Oh no, he's going automatically. Oh no, what is Thunderbolt doing? Are you fetching water bottles? No, you're supposed to stay here, mate. Oh, now Thunderbolt is going down by himself, fetching water bottles, and probably is going to get wasted. Yeah, what the fuck is going on here? Yep, and there he's gone, and that is all our tactics for today destroyed. What is even going on here? Holy shit! Alright, so let me conclude here. Echelons, yes, working. Do they create chaos? Yes. Is it chaos you can control? Partly. Is it overpowered? Yeah. Currently, it's too strong, but this is an extreme stage too. I mean, you can't go for the most extreme stage killer and then decide that that is way too strong an effect. If there are smaller sections of this happening, that can add quite a bit of tactics to a race. But yeah, this is a little weird to say the least, especially with the other mechanics not really interacting with it properly. Oh, so we're just 20 minutes behind now with Thunderbolt, and 40 minutes behind with the rest of our riders. And yeah, you can really see how arbitrary this is. As in, this is not a lot of wind compared to other times you see this number without the blue zone. And right now we are, let's take a closer look. Well, this is side slightly helping wind, so the effect in reality would be definitely not helping. It would feel like, yeah, you are having a lot of extra resistance, and it's from the side. So yeah, it's good echelon wind, but not quite as dangerous because this is only 28 kilometers an hour. Still significant, right? But it's breaking apart so damn easily. So maybe this effect, the effect size needs to be dialed down a bit. Like, look at this. What are they even doing? I'm on hold position, mate. Come on. No, you can't. Okay. Yeah. Well, that was the race. Let's take a look at the results. Alright, I would be assuming that these riders were the escapees that actually won. So whenever you see a lot of echelons, yes, you do want to be in an attack group, because there are no advantages to being in the peloton. Rather the opposite. Very much so the opposite. And that is just a testament to this effect size being a little too large. But I do welcome this change, and I think especially with modders taking a closer look at this and being able to implement this in all kinds of races in a, let's say, reasonable way. So yes, I'm looking forward to a more proper and balanced implementation of this. I hope that is coming. Alright, next up, let's take a look at time trials. We're going to select a very simple flat time trial first, and then I'm going to show you a mountain time trial as well. Okay, this looks like a decent-ish setup for just trying out time trial. And we are now going to take race day condition, yes, and random fitnesses. Even if you turn that off, there's still random race day condition stuff. That seems to be an oversight that you can't turn that off in single races like this. Okay, so what is the change, you ask? Pretty simple. They have removed the arbitrary, weird-ass implementation of time trials they had, where you only had a resistance bar, and they have exchanged it with the normal in-race resistance and sprint bar. So right on the ramp, and it is our worst time trial performer. Good stuff. So you now basically pace this stage as if it were just 30 kilometers of normal road race stage, but you have a faster bike. So what I really like about this change is that now actually this number is not always 75, but rather it very much depends on the stage you're going for, and also using the red bar seems to be very important, as in when to use it. You can use it as a battery extender, so to say, that the last kilometer you're running on fumes, which is the red bar, and spend it all that way, so that you have an even faster speed across the whole stage, but evenly spread out. Or you go for using it in smaller climbs, where, of course, you have less air resistance anyway, and thus extra speed does give you more benefit in terms of time gain. Other than that, you can see that this is still working the old way with the distance to finish bar up there, quite handy. And you see where you are at with your red and yellow. And of course, the red bar only really starts to be used at 85 plus. So 86 is where it starts to slowly tick down, and we're going to see that here soon when we are getting to this final incline, which is not very steep. Is there one? Oh yeah, we are already in it. Oh damn it. So let's go full bore. From 43 we're accelerating up to yeah, there you go, 60 something. Yes, we used it all up, almost. The resistance rating maybe plays a bit of a role. I would have expected it to play more of a role so that you can go harder with the higher resistance riders. Maybe that's the case, but I have not seen a major difference at least. So one thing that is curious about this change is that if you want to use your red bar, you need to, in longer time trials, vastly overpace a certain sector. And that might not be in your best interest. So let's say here we can go 99 for a little bit, and we are reducing the red bar, and then we go back to our 75 in the downhill, and then are we actually recovering this stuff? Yes, we are. So, okay. It is a recoverable resource in this situation, which is good stuff. This seems to be recovering very, very slowly compared to normal riding, though. As in, normally when you ride 75, your red bar is coming up reasonably quickly, and here it doesn't seem to be. So let's go 90, 95 for the rest. There's the final kilometer. And we're going hard, up the hill and across the line. We're second placed right now. So Kwiatkowski also about just there where Richie was in terms of stats, apart from the resistance, which is quite a bit higher. Let's try something else then. Something that is potentially a little exploitable in shorter time trials, that is. That would be going like 99 all the way. And then just leaving it, because that automatically uses the maximum resistance possible. So that is something that you would do in shorter time trials, especially those that are shorter than 10k, where you can just have a burst of speed at some point. You can time it the way you like, and the rest you just want to leave it at 99, because that is giving you the maximum suckage on your resistance bar for the maximum speed you can get out of it. And that doesn't make for, let's say, interesting gameplay. And he's going hard up the climb. Yes, very nicely done. And you're basically dead. Perfect. And we came second. Now let's see what the AI does with a decent time trialist. How are they pacing it? That is the automatic mode. I'm not convinced about this strategy. What? What are they doing? Are you kidding me? Now he is... Why is he all of a sudden going super hard? Oh, now he's racing to the line, and he finished 2 minutes down. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't look to me like a sound pacing strategy. One thing that I want to point out here is this. Look at that. The speed is not dropping for these corners, is it? And that is something that I'm going to have to talk about in the upcoming mountain time trial that we are taking a look at. And then we have this beautiful stage. Let me show you what I meant with the cornering speeds. A rainy day in the Alps. So this is the stage. It is quite a brutal climb, and then the descent isn't that easy either. As you are going to see, it is rather technical in nature. First off, Ben here is going to show you how the AI races this. And then, as soon as he gets into the climb, he will probably start nuking it a bit more, which seems to be a decent-ish race strategy, a pacing strategy. Much better than in that flats time trial we looked at before. Yeah, he's slowly regaining some red, not racing too hard. And this turn there, 82 kilometers, 82, 82, 82. Oh, this looks tough. Oh, no, 83 in the snow. Oh, that is very... Oh, that is very courageous of you. Oh, 82 kilometers through that bend in the snow. Ben, you rocket man, you. All right, let me take this to an extreme, just to hammer home the point. All right, so Pidcock has been going up here at a somewhat more leisurely pace. So let's go 99 and see what happens. So he's surely accelerating like crazy, spiking his heart rate. We are now going 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. 100 kilometers an hour! There we go! We broke the sound barrier through the serpentine bends. Yeah, and now let's see what happens to his time. And yeah, he made over a minute. Well, he's a really good downhill rider, so that's maybe even accurate. But he made over a minute in the downhill there by just rocketing through all the bends, which the competitors, of course, also can do. Why is this a thing? Let me guess. They tried to fix sprints by removing the restrictions of cornering speeds, in terms of cornering speeds, from all corners. Problem being that it's all corners, not just the last corners before the sprint. That is not a fix. That is the removal of a feature. I think having technical bends or tight bends steal your speed and thus affecting the outcome of sprints and time trials for that matter, or normal stages for that matter, that is quite an important thing. So why is that gone? I really hope that's just a little mistake. So I have chosen this little stage in the Tour de France as our example, and as you can see, this is a bit of a bend there towards the end, which should be raced at kind of full speed, but this one certainly not. So this finish looks like it will be an interesting one. Alright, here we go. We're getting closer, 10k to go from here, so this is about at 2.5 kilometers, I would think. Here comes a corner, we're doing 56, 56, 56, 40, okay. Well, there it's suddenly slowed down for a little bit. It was a weird chuggy little thing. So it's what we can conclude from that already is that indeed it is not all corners in all races. It seems to be that the time trials seem to be a bit of an exception then. But let's see what is going on with that last corner then. As always, wheel following is basically impossible with the AI being ultra stupid and completely incompetent. So there we have the turn. That is 3 kilometers out. Looks pretty tight. Let's see what happens if we go full bore into it. So here we go, we're doing 52. 52 is a little slow for his skill, I would say. 52, 53, nothing. Okay. That to me looks like they have manually gone into stages and edited out the minimum or the maximum speed for certain corners for the final few kilometers, which I think is a bad solution to a problem they were having. This is the kind of the cheeky, cheaty way out, and I don't approve of that. There must be better, something better than this. Because this is just removing a game mechanic from a certain section of the game. Where, of course, yes, it did cause issues, but replacing it with nothing, does it make it any better? Especially when it's arbitrary like this. You did see that the last corner, it actually worked. We were slowed down somewhat, even though that was weird, in a weird way. But here, no difference? That is a little odd. Alright, so everyone is sprinting. Everyone is sprinting to the line. They were not slowed down by that corner either, of course. So here we go. And yeah, the holding of the wheel AI is still absolutely atrocious in this. But it has always been, so that's no news. So, summary time. Well, those changes that we have been looking at are the objective system, which seem to be quite potent, and I'm definitely looking into it further before making a final decision on, or final judgment on if it is actually good or bad. It very much depends on what the release version has in it, in terms of implementation as well. Then the wind stuff, echelons, kinda similar, but the implementation seems overpowered and odd. So yeah, I think this is going to harm the game more than it's going to do good, at least in the current implementation. It is a little too overpowered, and it definitely fucks with the getting water mechanic and so on that you just can't really circumvent or be smart about. At least if the sections are super long. So yeah, then we have the time trials, which yes, basis of this is good. Change it from an arbitrary system to one that the player knows and knows how to interact with too. Good, more transparency there. And less arbitrary bullshit of, when in this 36-kilometer time trial you need to set an average of 85 effort. And in this one that is 10 kilometers long, you can only set 72 as an effort to use up all your bar. That was the case in 2020, and now 2021 is seemingly a bit more consistent. Good to see. Problem being, corners. Where the fuck are corners? What the hell happened there? I hope this is just a little bug, because this would be completely completely fucking terrible if this was the way it was meant to be. What they really should be looking at is that some of the other skills are determining your cornering speeds, the maximum cornering speeds, so that some stats, maybe some underutilized stats, like the downhill stat for instance, does get some kind of benefit in there for the cornering. Anyway, I think overall, and oh yeah, there was the sprint too, which I think the implementation is terrible. This is not a good solution. This seems like a fast, quick change they have made to paper over a problem that the game had with some of its game mechanics. Not a good implementation. But other than that, so conclusion, is this year's version worth it? I think that is once again largely down to what the modding community does with all these changes, because I think the underlying mechanical changes do have some promise to them. Is it worth buying for the full price? I doubt it. If you're playing Pro Cyclist mode, then I would say no. Campaign, maybe, or career mode, maybe. That is something that actual campaign players should be deciding on, like Benji and all the others that are more into the career stuff. Alright, I'm going to leave you with a final little note. This is the very first year that Pro Cycling Manager 2021, no, Pro Cycling Manager in general, has somewhat of a competitor in the market. And that is, of course, the game that I made, or that I make, rather right now. At the end of July, the 29th of July, we're going to release the Cyclist Tactics, which also is a cycling management game, but more of a board game style game, a turn-based game. So it's not a direct competitor to Pro Cycling Manager, but very much team management and tactics, cycling tactics themed. And if you haven't checked it out yet, I would recommend you do, because with Pro Cycling Manager going the way it always does, it will be a little bit of a letdown. It's still an excellent game overall. We all love it, but at the same time, we kind of also hate that it's going nowhere. Or when they implement something new, it kind of breaks the game, and they don't really fix it. And that's really a shame, because the underlying game over the years, I've played it for almost 20 years now, is just excellent at its core, and they don't do anything with it. Yeah, it hurts to see. But I hope you're going to check out the Cyclist Tactics. I'm going to leave you here with the trailer, the old, now outdated trailer of the Cyclist Tactics, and links down below. Alright, I hope this was informative and somewhat useful, and I hope to see you guys next time. The Cyclist Tactics is a turn-based strategy game in which you lead a small team of professional cyclists from humble beginnings to competing for the top of the podium in the toughest and most prestigious cycling events in the world. In the highly tactical, procedurally generated races, success comes about when superior decision-making meets careful resource management and planning. Teamwork is essential to keep your leaders protected, avoid peloton pulling duties, create lactate threshold crushing lead outs, and to set up your lead rider in perfect position for the final dash. Guide your team's riders as they gain skills and progress from struggling eager novices to monument-winning superstars with a hefty price tag and more flaws than they started with. If you fancy nuanced tactics where decision-making is king, follow the game's development and try out the demo.